Welcome back! We're Johnny, Adam and our Labrador Benji, and we invite you to join us on our journey moving from a modern new build home to a 174-year-old stone cottage in Scotland. So I want to talk about the damp wall issue again. I know you're probably sitting there thinking, oh, not the damp wall again, stop going on about the damp wall. But it's an important issue. So if you remember from our previous videos, before we bought the cottage, on the home report, there was a category 3 urgent repair. And it was this end gable wall of the cottage that had severe damp issues and high levels of moisture inside the living room. So now that we're in the cottage and we can actually address this, we had a stonemason, an old building specialist, call out just to assess the wall and, you know, kind of advise on what needs doing. And what he's said is that basically confirmed our kind of thoughts. He's told us that the paint, this white paint needs stripping off because it's a non-breathable plasticky paint. And that will then allow the stone wall to breathe, but also it looks as though it's been pointed with cement mortar. So all of that cement mortar needs raking out, then it needs repointing with lime-based mortar because that is breathable, whereas cement mortar isn't breathable. So currently what's happening is the non-breathable paint and the non-breathable mortar, the cement mortar, is trapping the moisture into the stonework, and that's what's causing the damp issues. And this paint is already flaking off anyway. You can see it's no longer stuck to the stone, it's just coming away. So you can see here where it's just started coming away from the wall anyway. There are all of these little fine hairline cracks that are letting the moisture in, and it's getting trapped behind the paint. You can see the actual exposed stone there. See how the paint here has a thickness to it? So the stonemason had told me that I think he said it's known as a slurry paint mix, which is basically a mix of cement and paint, and then they kind of like lather it on. So that's what's giving it the thickness. I just thought that was decades of layers of old paint, but it isn't. And in areas, this is just coming away from the wall because the moisture is trapped behind it. Right, here's another example here. It's just coming off, and you can see we've got moss growing behind it. And here you can also see there's moss growing inside there. You know, some people have said to me, Johnny, the cottage has stood for almost 200 years, leaving it another year until next summer, so Adam and I can sort this out ourselves and save a few quid. More than a few quid. I think the quote was about £4,500 or something like that, which is a lot of money. So yeah, a few people have said, the cottage has stood for almost 200 years. I'm sure another year, leaving it another year, isn't going to harm it too much. But it's also peace of mind having it done before the winter sets in by the professionals. You know, we can watch the pros at work and observe what they are doing so that eventually we can tackle the rest of the cottage ourselves. Not that the rest of the cottage needs doing, mind, but you know, nothing else has shown up as damp or anything in the home report. And if you compare that wall over there, I don't know if you can see it from this angle, versus the gable wall there, you can clearly see there's lots of crumbliness and patches where the paint's coming away and moss is growing. Whereas that wall there, for example, That looks perfectly fine to me. But I think eventually, if we're going to have to remove this white paint and take it right back to the stone, which will actually look quite nice having the original stone. I don't know if I think I'd rather have the whole cottage taken back to the stone rather than just that one wall. I don't know. But yeah, potentially by watching the pros at work, we can, like I said, observe what they are doing. And then next year, if we decide to tackle the rest of the cottage, Adam and I perhaps will be in a better position to do that ourselves, especially with regards to time scales. We'll have more time to do it. So you can see there's some paint flaking on the chimney, the white paint up there. And as I move down, you can see all of the cracks in the paint and where paint started flaking off and mildew, not mildew, moss rather, has started growing. In these patches. So Adam and I had hoped that we could resolve this year before we get into winter. So we're now into autumn. Winter is just around the corner. And because we didn't get to move into the cottage until autumn and not the summer like we had hoped for, it means we're kind of left with not a lot of time to work on this ourselves. So we had anticipated doing the work ourselves, doing research online. We've had lots and lots of really great advice from you guys, from people who live in older buildings up here in Scotland as well. And so yeah, we thought, we don't have a massive budget. We're not made of money. We'll tackle this issue and we'll do it ourselves before winter sets in. But that's not going to happen now because, as you probably already noticed, the nights are drawing in. It's getting darker earlier, so by the time we finish work and get home, it's dark. So that only leaves weekends to do this work. So the old building specialist said that his team could do this, strip all the old paint off, rake all the old cement mortar out and repoint it with lime mortar, and that would take 2 weeks. And that would be them working on this every day, well, for 5 days a week for 2 weeks to kind of resolve this. Can you imagine how long that's going to take me and Adam to work on this if we're limited to only working on weekends? We'll be well into winter. And for anybody who knows anything about lime mortar and things like that, you can't really do that in the winter because it doesn't like the harsh conditions, it doesn't like frost and things like that. So this is obviously the interior of that stone wall that has the damp issue. And the stonemason had said that this has also been pointed previously with a cement mortar. So this will also need raking out and repointing with lime mortar. However, he did say it's not as pressing as the outside. The outside needs doing ASAP. The inside, this can be done next year or whenever. So this is definitely something Adam and I can do ourselves. And we will do it ourselves because we don't have the money to pay someone else to do this, as well as the outside. One of the other interesting things that stonemason had told me, though, is that back in the 1850s, when this cottage was constructed, it was built using a mix of whinstone, which I'd never heard of before, and sandstone. So apparently whinstone is a very hard, durable, solid stone, almost like granite, I guess. And it's more difficult for damp and moisture to penetrate whinstone, unlike sandstone, which is more porous and just not as durable as whinstone. So whinstone apparently dates back millions of years. It was from volcanic eruptions, and it was kind of like stone and minerals that got sandwiched into layers between, I think it was like limestone and sandstone or something like that. But anyway, it's really durable. So the fact that the cottage is constructed with a mix of whinstone and sandstone is a good thing, because he also said that it's very likely the bottom half of the walls from the ground up will probably have been built just using whinstone. So it's almost like an old version of natural damp-proof coursing, I guess, because it's harder for damp to penetrate that type of that type of stone. So that's good. But yeah, if me and Adam can do this ourselves next year, that'll be great. So what are your thoughts? Do we either A, wait until next year when we've got the time and the weather's nicer to tackle the outside ourselves? We've had lots of great advice from you guys on YouTube, people who know a little bit about older properties and stone buildings and what have you. So I'm confident we could probably do this ourselves. However, it would take a lot longer than the professionals coming in and doing it, and we just don't have that time to do it this year, given that we would only be working on it on weekends because we're working during the week and nights are getting darker earlier and everything. So we'd have to leave it until next year once the weather starts warming up again. So do we do that and save ourselves a few quid? I say a few quid, quite a lot of money, because the quote come back at about £4,500, which would absolutely skint us. Or do we just bite the bullet, pay the pros to come in and do this within, a couple of weeks? This could all be resolved, not the interior, but the exterior, which is the most important part. And also observe what they are doing and learn from what they are doing, so that if me and Adam decide to tackle the rest of the cottage or the inside next year, we'll be in a better position time-wise, because time will be on our side, and it is not on our side at the moment. And also we'll have observed what other people are doing, the professionals, in terms of stripping things out, the old mortar, mixing the lime mortar, repointing it, and all of that. So I don't know. What do we do? What are your thoughts? Leave a comment below on what you guys would do. Part of me thinks leave it till next year and me and Adam tackle it ourselves and save thousands of pounds. Adam is stressing about it. He wants it, for peace of mind, he wants it done as quick as possible so that when winter comes, we know it's done. This large tree has a side branch that almost resembles a separate tree. Not only does it block part of the view, but we're concerned it might break and fall during strong winds, especially since this part of the garden is quite exposed. So Adam is about to cut it down. Your chainsaw sounds like a toy.
It's a battery chainsaw.
It sounds like a toy.
It's eco-friendly.
Adam and his Fisher-Price chainsaw.
You're really jealous because you can't have a go.
Did that feel good? Did that feel good?
Huh?
Did that feel good?
It was easy. Better see if it looks all right now.
Yeah, that's much better.
A few more bits to come off yet. A few other things. And we'll have a much improved view.
There was no need for that big branch to be grown out the side like that, obstructing the view.
Well, it's not there anymore.
Next up, Adam gave his new toy a try, a leaf collector that works like a giant outdoor vacuum, sucking up leaves as he tidies up the garden. Followed by a quick blast with the leaf blower to finish. Our neighbours must be thrilled with all of the noise. But hey, he's determined to get everything nice and neat before the winter sets in. The next task is to clean and repair the gutters. We noticed an issue after a recent storm when wind blew water from a blocked gutter right across the side of the cottage. And while he's up there, Adam has taken a quick look to check that everything is in good shape with the flat roof. And the final task for the evening is to replace this outdoor light. The sensor's broken, causing it to blink on and off, which is incredibly annoying when we're trying to do anything in the garden after dark, whether it be putting out the bins early in the morning or late at night. Fortunately, Adam is great at these things. I've said it before and I'll say it again, everybody needs an Adam in their life. So today we're heading to IKEA to try and buy some wardrobes. Not our first choice of place to go to buy furniture, but we desperately need storage because we've been living out of boxes. All of these boxes have our clothes in at the moment because the wardrobes in our previous house were fitted, so we couldn't bring them with us. And the novelty of living out of boxes will quickly start to wear off. So we're just going to buy some IKEA wardrobes to go here for the time being, and and see what happens. My plan is if we can modify them to make them look a bit more bespoke, a bit more custom, once we decide what we're doing with the main bedroom in terms of decor and design and everything. So yeah, hopefully by the end of the day we'll have actual storage for all of our clothes.
We've just been to Wren Kitchens to see if we can get spare parts for the kitchen, doors and plinths and cornicing and stuff like that to put on the new integrated appliances we bought.
Yeah, because we don't have the budget to completely rip out the kitchen, and there's nothing wrong with it.
Not those prices we've just been quoted, definitely not.
I know. They were very helpful though.
It was very helpful. It's got all the codes and stuff, so we just need to give him a ring now and sort that out.
Yeah. And what we going to B&Q for? Oh, I want a circular saw, don't I?
Well, we can have a circular saw and a pair of L blades.
Right, let's go and see if can get this saw, because we've got other stuff we need to do as well.
Yeah.
I think this'll do. I think we should get this one.
Why?
It's a better brand. You want me to go for this one, don't you? Actually, I want to give it cheap and nasty. Or is it my granny used to say? Buy cheap, buy twice.
Well, you're paying for it. I'm not, so I don't care.
Is it a cheap one we're going for then? If it breaks, then I have to come back and buy the more expensive one. Next stop was IKEA. It's a bit of a love-hate relationship with this place. As you know, we'd much rather buy a vintage piece. Not only because it's more sustainable, but because older furniture often has better quality. But when it comes to modern living, IKEA really does solve a lot of storage issues, without breaking the bank. Plus, we can't resist wandering around the showrooms for a bit of inspiration and new ideas. Benji is not getting any more toys, he has enough. Don't be showing him that. So as you can see, we're getting there. I'm just trying to finish unpacking everything ahead of building it, because we've got a time slot booked at the local recycling centre, and one of the things about moving to such a rural area is everything is so far away, including the recycle centre. It's no longer just 10 minutes down the road like it was in the previous house. So I'm trying to get all of the packaging ready, stuff it in the back of the Land Rover so we can make the most of our booked time slots at the recycling centre.
Well done.
Almost complete. Just got the doors to put on yet. One of the things I do like about IKEA furniture, I know IKEA is a bit of a Marmite, you either love it or hate it. And as much as we wanted a vintage, unique wardrobe, just in terms of storage solutions and practicality, we ended up just going with the IKEA Pax wardrobes. But one of the things I do love about IKEA wardrobes is the soft close drawers and doors, which obviously when I put them on. But just look at all that space to store stuff. There's a few bits missing, so we've got a pull-out tray on the bottom here for shoes, and we're meant to have the same but larger trays for under those drawers. But I forgot to order them, so...
I thought you said they were out of stock. Is that what you just told me?
They're out of stock. No, Damn.
You've been caught out.
They're out of stock.
Benjamin, tell him. You tell him. Benji, everyone, Benjamin, tell them the truth.
The camera never lies. Does it, Benji? Yeah, so those trays will go in the bottom once they are back in stock. And the shelves to go above this as well. They were definitely out of stock, the shelves. And the lights were out of stock.
Yeah, we've got everything but...
We've got all the bits for the connections and that, but yeah, the lights are out of stock. We don't want to open the wardrobe doors and look like we're staring into a black hole or anything.
It's quite good. The ceiling lights, though, are really quite near the main way.
Yeah,
so that will help illuminate.
Yeah, yeah. Now, you might be wondering, look at the grey doors they've gone for. Don't worry about that, because my plan is, I have a plan, right? We're going to, now that I've just built all these and got them in situ, because I love messing about and making twice the work for myself. Eventually, once we redecorate this room and decide what we're doing, are we having wood flooring, getting rid of the carpet, whatever we decide to do, I'm going to build a short plinth, almost like a frame for these 3 wardrobe carcasses to sit on. Then I'm going to put decorative moulding on either side and have a cornicing going around the top to make it look a little bit more bespoke, a little bit more custom made, to hide the fact that it's IKEA. I was just about to say to hide the fact that it's cheap IKEA. It really wasn't cheap, but it was a lot less expensive than hiring a professional bedroom company to come in and
yeah, it would have been thousands.
So anyway, part of my idea is these horrible dark grey doors. We're going to paint it, so whatever colour theme we decide for, well, we've already actually decided the colour theme for this bedroom, but that's a secret, so you'll need to watch later on and find out for that. Anyway, the colour scheme for the bedroom will be painting the doors, light sand down, paint them to the colour that we wanted, that IKEA don't do. I think these only come in like beige, wood effect, grey and white or something like that. And yeah, so if you can imagine rows of these, they'll almost look like just a panelled wall, painted in a nicer colour than the grey.
Yeah.
And the reason I went for the grey instead of the white is because I figured obviously it'll need priming and everything, but it'll be easier to paint. Maybe it won't be, I don't know. But anyway, yeah, these coloured a different colour, nice handles on them. I didn't bother buying the IKEA handles because there was none that I liked. We want nice ones. And it's not quite floor to ceiling wardrobes that we had in the previous house. The ceiling's quite low in this bedroom, so we couldn't have the really, really tall wardrobes. We had to go for the next height down. But I think it'll look really good once it's done and it's got the cornice in, and I think
it'll look proper bespoke when it's all finished.
Yeah, for a fraction of the price. That's my idea anyway. Stay tuned to see if that works out or not.
Good.
Not too bad, is it?
No?
It'll do for now. Until we paint them.
Paint them?
Yeah.
I thought you were wanting grey.
No, I don't want grey.
Good.
When have I ever wanted a monotone colour?
I thought you liked the grey and like the mirror, shiny, glitzy.
No!
Monotone.
I would never have grey and mirrored and shiny.
Good. So what's your idea then?
So I'm going to paint them.
Yeah.
I'm going to build a plinth for them to sit on.
Mm-hmm.
Build a frame around it. Add moulding to the sides. Add skirting board along the bottom and a piece of cornicing on the top. When the lights are finally back in stock, we'll have lights on the insides. So basically, my aim is to make them look a bit more like bespoke fitted wardrobes than IKEA wardrobes, and then paint them. All the handles are coming next week, by the way.
Yeah.
So at the moment, you'll need to try and open them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, good. What colour are you thinking?
Red.
Red?
Yeah, red.
What, like postbox red?
No.
Oh, good.
Don't worry, it's not going to look like Tart's Boudoir or anything.
Mm.
No, these are my ideas. So like that, kind of red. Yeah, look nice?
That's okay.
Yeah.
That will go with the curtains.
So it's not bright red.
No, it's more like a deep rouge.
Yeah, yeah. So my aim is, I think that'll look really nice. My aim is for this space to be cosy and cocooning, and we'll get the log burner reinstalled, and I thought the kind of deep red, and it'll kind of have this cozy Highland vibe, I think.
I'm not having a Highland cow rug on the floor.
Yes!
No. Benjamin won't like it. Will you? What are you doing on the bed? You cheeky animal.
I think that'll look good to you.
Yeah. And the 4-panel design we chose works well.
Yeah. Is that a new hedgehog, Benji? Huh? Is that your new hedgehog? Every time we go to IKEA, you get a new toy. You're such a spoiled little Labrador, aren't you? Well guys, it's that time again. It's been a busy week, and so this brings us to the end of this week's video. We hope you've enjoyed watching, and as always, thank you very much for all of your support and comments. We really do hope you have a great week, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.